Hello, this is Mr. Monteros from Bowie High School. Today I will walk you through Exploros, a software that I use with my social studies students in world geography, world history, and pre-AP world geography. So about Exploros and myself, this is my second year using it. I initially paid for 70 subscriptions out of pocket at my previous school and had them switch those accounts to Bowie High School once I was hired over here. They also upgraded my subscription from Exploros to the admin level, which gives me extra um, capabilities into seeing data. There's content for social studies, English, and digital citizenship. And it works by students creating their own accounts using their EPISD email. So it's secure. So quickly, some pros. It saves student work. So for me as a teacher, it acts as a notebook. It acts as a notepad. It acts as somewhere where I can save student assessments, formal and informal, and that really helps out. Data. Data is very important if we want to analyze progress. It also links into Lead Forward. It's a very cool template, and I will show you that in a bit. These are TEAC aligned. So these aren't just general lesson plans and objectives. They're all TEACs aligned, Texas, right? These lessons have multiple objectives. They're simple and they're easy to follow, and any teacher can change them and tweak them to their own liking, but they're there. There are links within the lessons to relevant sites, so it really helps students be more aware of digital resources online like they will be in college, which leads me into talking about college preparedness. This software gets them ready for a college type of course because of the links attached to it. Another wonderful thing about Exploros are the many different activities, such as word clouds, short answer, multiple choice, group work. There's other options inside of it. They're all embedded, so the teacher doesn't have to create these. The teacher doesn't have to go look for a specific Kahoots, for example, and then edit it to their own liking. They're all embedded and they all are relevant to what the lesson plan is talking about. So those are the pros. When it comes to cons, of course, money is the number one concern. I'll show you some prices. These change. It's not $4 anymore. I think it's $6 now for the basic and $10 for the upgraded one that I have that I will show you. It doesn't link into Schoology. It links into Google Classroom, but that's not an issue at all because the students have their own email to log into. And the only other con, realistically, sometimes students complain that something doesn't load, but that was just at the beginning. I rarely get that anymore, but just to write something down, the tech can be a little something at first, but once the students get used to it, it's very smooth. And I have yet to have any issues with Exploros. It's only at the beginning when I have to start their account and walk them through it. What I really like about the Exploros model is that they're based on the 5E model in social studies. That's engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So with the engage, students engage in a challenging situation, prior knowledge is activated, and questions are provoked. In other words, for me, that's my bell ringer, right? That's the first activity in every lesson. The next step is explore. Students investigate the phenomenon, prior knowledge is challenged, ideas are created. For me in my class, that's the I do, right? That's what I do as a teacher. Next step is explain. The students explain the phenomenon. new knowledge is gained and applied, and that's the one we do. We do an activity together. I walk them through it. This is all in Exploros. Step 4 is elaborate, right? So students apply their knowledge towards new situations. Knowledge is deepened and extended. In my class, this is the you do. This is when they do it independently. And finally, there's the evaluate. The students reflect on their knowledge and the learning process assessment, which is my exit ticket, right? And I will show you the 5E model in Exploros. Okay. So, really quick, I just wanted to show you the different curriculums. We have digital citizenship from elementary, middle school, and high school. The social studies bundle, elementary. So if you buy the bundle, you get all of these combined. You have middle school and then high school. Here's the thing, the high school one is directly linked, and I will show you that one. The one I use for my 2 classes are this one, the world cultures. This is for world geography and world history. The great thing about social studies TEKS is that they are big general categories. So whenever I do look for a lesson in this world cultures, it is aligned to the high school TEKS. And this is at their grade level. A lot of these links are at a high reading level. So it just works out perfectly. And I'll show you one of those lessons. We also have civics, right? So this one would be great for government, for high school government. And then for high school, again, we have U.S. history since 1877, and then the citizenship test review. There's also ELAR, but it only goes up to 8th grade. Okay, and this also attaches or connects with other curriculums. The subscription is here, and again, you could Google it on Exploros. I did the social studies bundle. I originally started with a silver plan for all my students, and like I mentioned in the presentation, I got upgraded to the $10 gold plan for campuses and districts. And again, this is something that everybody can go back to and look at it more slowly. The upgrade, the $10 per student plan, gives you pretty much the administrator reports and analytics that I will show you, which is really valuable information, especially for administrators. Okay. So there's also a free 30-day trial, which I'm more than happy to help all of the social studies department run through, or new tech, and definitely they could get a very, very good software to get ready for the tests, especially in 30 days. This software can really help out the students practice for the social studies EOC. Definitely, I recommend it. So let me log in to show you some examples of how I use Exploros in my class and how it looks. This is the page. You can either use your EPISD Google sign-in account that's provided, or like I ask my students, I just have them do their regular EPISD email. And they can join a class, and you can create classes. So currently, there's 3 teachers here. We have myself, Miss Barnett, and Miss Reyes. And then I have 91 students, and this would be what administration sees. Okay. I'll walk you through one of my classes. So I'll just go with my first class. This is Pre-AP World Geography for 5th period. Okay, this is the upcoming class for Tuesday, actually. We're going to talk about Israel and their neighbors. Okay, so nothing's assigned at the moment. It'll say right here. scheduled, and then the ones that have ended. So this one they did really well. Let's click on it. This is Arabia and Iraq. So right off the bat, in the teacher view, it tells me who finished this assignment, right? Where they ended, how they did on the small assessments on their first attempt, and then even last attempt, if they changed any answers, which most of them did, because we go through it together, and then their exit ticket grade. So here, obviously, we have 3 students, Daniel, Jesus, and Robert, that did not complete it or log in at all. And then the rest of the class, they completed it the whole way. So let's look at some activities. So as I mentioned before, it's based off the 5E model. First, we have engage. And as a teacher, it gives me the overview. It prepares me for the lesson. This is how it looks after the lesson is completed. Right here, we have the objectives that the students see. This is what the students are able to see, right? The objectives are there. We have a map that the students can see. And then here we have our bell ringer / warm up, right? What part of the world does this central part of the map show? And a word or phrase, share your guess with your classmates. So they create a word cloud. Here for this one, a lot of people have put Arabian country, Arabian Peninsula, Arabia, India, somewhere near Asia. And then at the end of the lesson, it shows what students said what. And at the end, and there's sections where they're locked. So when I give this in my class, I keep them locked because a lot of students tend to rush through them without really paying attention. So I walk them through them, and they're locked until I unlock it, and then the student can go to the next activity. Here we have the next part of the activity, right? Again, we have map work, which is great. If it wasn't noticed, here we have the TEKS, and again, these are 6th grade TEKS, but with social studies, you can definitely align them. You can vertically align, you can scaffold upwards, and you can relate them to the bigger idea, right? So here we have the TEKS, and again, they're always visible right here. So we have some map work. We're talking about the Middle East here. Again, the red is for our teacher notes. The students don't see that, but the rest is the student view. Again, here we have another question. If you were a trader from Arabia, what body of water would you cross to reach Iran? Another word cloud. I love word clouds. They're cool. They're visual. The students use this map here to answer this question. And the majority put Persian Gulf. It's the bigger one, right? And I usually ask a student, which is the biggest answer, which is the biggest word, and it's very easy to answer. Here I get to see which student put what, right? So very, very good for me as a teacher. Again, these are my notes. Here I can unlock and lock the next scene. We unlock the next scene. We go to 2. And here we have Explore. So in this part, I have the students click on a link. Once they click on a link, I could give them a summary, which is a pretty easy condensed version, which pretty much gives them the answers. And again, it's a very good summary. Or like with my pre-AP class, I send them to the full article, right? And it sends them to another website. These are all verified academic websites. This one's from Georgetown University. And here, just like in a college class, I have them look up that answer. So again, depending on my class, depending on the level that my students are at, I either give them the summary or the full article. This full article has 17 pages, but again, I want to prepare my students for that college kind of atmosphere, and I give them the full article. But as always, here we have tips, right? Jump to page 10 and read pages 10 and 11 up to page 12. There's questions here, right? A little assessment, multiple choice. And again, the students can change their answers if they feel like it at the end, or just leave them with their first try. As a teacher, I can give them the option of hiding notes and showing student feedback. When I give them feedback, or when I choose that option, the students see if they got one wrong. It doesn't give them the correct answer, it just tells them that if they got one wrong and they can change the answer. Again, here's another multiple choice question, a small assessment to see how they're doing. Usually I go over these assessments together as a class, and I allow them to change their answers or make corrections. Again, even though we do this, sometimes the students, it's obvious when they're not listening, or sometimes, like I know Mr. Adrian Zaragoza did not attend class that day, so I know that he wasn't able to correct that on his own. Again, teacher notes, and I unlock the next scene so they don't jump ahead. Here we have explain, and this is more, like I said, we'll do this together. They get to do map work. If they click on this image, it takes them to a bigger map. I really like this, again, because it has different maps, different resources. As a teacher, I don't have to look for them. I don't have to uh, search the whole web every weekend for these kind of maps. It's all embedded into it, and it's really cool because there are different resources and different maps. And here, this is where we have the short answer. As a teacher, I give them, 10, 15 minutes to answer this question. And I really like the questions because um, they hit all sorts of levels, from the plain, simple recall level to the higher level of students, arguing their own position. So it says, which areas of the peninsula receive the most rainfall and why? What grows in Yemen, where rainfall is the most plentiful? This is perfect short answers. Students get to work on their writing. I get to see. I respond to their answers down here. Fatima is a great student, right? They're all great students. Here she gives me a really good answer, right? So I give her 100%. Here we have Jose. He gives me a smaller answer, but definitely here I respond and I tell him, you know what, this is a 25%, right? Here again we have Dada, good answer, and this is what whenever this is what we do. Whenever they give me an answer, I give them feedback, right? This These two were a little too late before we moved on. And again, here are the teacher notes, and you can discuss them with your students. We'll go to scene 4, the elaborate part. This is where I usually give them another 10 to 15 minutes, and they completely do this independently. And again, this is where they do a little more research on their own. This is what I love about it: using internet research, research Arabian camels, their adaptive features, and their history. Write a list of facts we discovered and upload a picture or a photo of an Arabian camel. I love this, right? It's cross-curricular too. There's a lot of ties as a teacher. This isn't what I just base my whole curriculum on. This is a good structure for me. I can, from this lesson, I can create other mini lessons for a Wednesday, or I can do other projects from these lessons. So, for example, cross curricular, why? Because we add in the Arabian camels, more science, right? There are adaptive features. We're talking about climate, which is definitely related to world geography. I love this because the students are able to put their answer here. They don't have to submit a separate document. They don't have to email a document. This is all embedded within Exploros. So here we have Valeria. She gave me the facts, right? She did this herself, and she came up with a picture that they upload. Here's another one. Here's Miguel. He likes to be called Mikey. And definitely really cool because they all get to pick a different picture, and they all talk about different things. So again, this is what I like Exploros. This is all done within one class period, especially with distance learning. This is what I do the entire class. So I talk to them about the instructions. I give them 10 to 12 minutes to do on their own. I'm available on camera. I'm chatting with them, answering questions. At the end of the 10 or 12 minutes, we go over the answers. I choose out some exemplary answers to go over. I might add in some conversations or a Padlet, and then we move on to the next scene. At the end, we have scene 5, which is the evaluate. This is the quiz. Again, exit tickets are great for data, right? How do we as teachers know what to do, what to improve on? Well, we have our exit tickets, and each Exploros lesson has an exit ticket. And again, here we have at the end our data. Of course, these students were not there. Here we have incorrect, correct, and it tells me who got the answers right. It gives me a breakdown of the answer, right? The majority that didn't choose the correct answer got east. So maybe, I need to concentrate on correcting east and west and looking at maps. And again, this is great data. The majority did well on 2. Only one person missed this one. So again, we understood this one. And then let's look at the third question. This one was not too good. So again, the data the data is great here on Exploros. And the fact that we have everything in this and we don't have to go to another document, it's complicated for the students to jump from Google to Schoology to go back to Microsoft to use OneNote. Everything is here. As teachers also, we have Kahoot, we have Quizlet, we have quizzes, we have the Schoology assessments. Those are all great tools, but they're all different tools and we have to put them all together. Here, it keeps them all together. And let me show you what a report looks like. So that's a lesson, and most lessons have 5 to 6 different scenes. Let me move this. Okay. So as an administrator, you get to see the report for all your classes. So here we have experiences, reports. So here are the reports. This is what I really enjoy about this software. So this is my sandbox student where I test things out, but let's go back to the pre-AP World Geography class. So if I'm looking at all my students from that class and I wanted to see their quiz scores, I just leave it there to quiz scores. And here we have all of their scores. Here we have all of the lessons that I've given them the entire time in the entire year, starting from last semester up until now. Here are the experiences themselves. So here's when I gave him Northern, Central, South America, geographic passport. It tells me if they've done it. So this means he started it but did not complete it, right? This pretty much gives me their exit ticket score, their quiz score. If I want to see if they completed it, I can go to that option, right? And I can see how much they've completed it. If I want to see how much time they spent on it, how many minutes, I could go to that option, right? And finally, if I want to see how many responses they put in, I could go there. It's just great information, right? If we're looking back at a student and trying to decide if we're going to give them a second chance or if they've really been trying or if they're just, zooming through all of the responses. Okay. So this is one option. If we want to go individually, I could click on a student. Let's go with Dada. And I have all of Dada's information. She's done 14 lessons or experiences. She's generated over 150 responses, and her quiz score is an average of 69%. Okay, and here are all her experiences and the dates that they were due. All these dates are similar because I have allowed my students ample of time to turn these in. So I've changed the due date plenty of times. And that's why the due dates are the same. But if a teacher wants to, they can keep the due date consistent. So there's more record keeping in that sense. Here we have the percentage complete, and down here we have the legend, percentage complete, responses, average activity score, quiz score, and time on task. So everything that was available on the other one, but just for specific students. When I do talk to them, I can show them this, and I can talk to them about improving their quiz score average for the next week. We can do definitely celebrations about how many lessons and responses they've generated, and this is really cool to see for the student. And all of this can be exported to an Excel spreadsheet if need be, or to a PDF, you know, for record keeping or for giving to students, or again for data. Here we have that we could give to the student. Okay, so I talked about how it aligns with lead forward. So here we are with lead forward, and this does it as a whole class, right? It does it as an entire grade. So in all my classes, right, this is the breakdown of TEKs and how many times or how many students have hit on this TEK, the number of responses, okay, the RPS, MPS, and then the quiz average, okay. With the RPS and MPS, I'll look it up here. It's responses per student, minutes per student, okay. And again, here we have the TEKs. These are sixth grade TEKs, but definitely I scaffold them up to high school TEKs, okay. And again, this is really helpful. Now, this is extremely helpful, right, if we're doing the U.S. history part for high school, because, well, these are directly aligned, and this would tell you exactly where the students are at. And then if you want to know, well, our students need to work on TEK 11.28C. You just click on this one, and it tells you which ones, what lessons you've hit on or that have that, right? So in this one, we have women and labor that hit on this TEK. So if you click on that, it'll take you to that. So again, obviously there's none in here because I have not worked on this. Well, I don't teach U.S. history, but this would be great for U.S. history. And again, it just gives you all the data, and this could be really helpful. And again, the same thing with our end. I could look up TEK reports, and it gives me the breakdown of the TEKs right here. It tells me how many times, again, how many experiences I've done with them, right? How many times. Does it give me the legend at the bottom? No. So here again, the experiences. Oh, right there. Number of experiences taught and available. Number of students learning the standard. Total responses. Average quiz score. And time on breakout. So again, this is great information. This is for just one class. If I wanted to see my bigger class, here we go. All students, and then I can just see for one student how they do on these TEKs, right? How much time they spent. I could go to each student and see how they're doing. This is all great information. You can see how they're doing with geography. And see, I can just break it down by student, by class, by standards, supporting standards, processing standards. And Ultimately, this has been great. As a teacher, I've really have enjoyed this software, and again, I'm more than happy to help anybody learn it. I'm more than happy to do this presentation in person. And again, I can walk you through the U.S. history one, especially getting ready for this EOC. Just quickly, I wanted to walk through one. Let's do everybody's favorite, World War II. Right. So with this one, it has vocabulary, and being a star tested subject, it's heavy on vocabulary. In eighth grade, most lessons or units would start off with this kind of vocabulary. So really quick, we can preview it. And it has group work, which I love. So it has group work and then reading groups. So here we go. Which of the following words are you familiar with? And these are cool. Students are able to click on each one that they're familiar with, right? Choose one of the words on the list, search the item on the internet, find an image that illustrates the word, then add a caption explaining how the illustration is connected to the word. So students are able to write in and do whatever they like here. Again, here's another part. Which ones are you not familiar with? Same list from above. Based on the vocabulary, words predict 3 aspects of World War II that this unit will discuss. Okay, and again, teacher notes in red, and students are able to type in their answer. We could go to the next scene. So again, this is vocabulary. So there's a lot of vocabulary, simple lessons. This is a cool one that I always like to give the students just to do on their own. I don't really have to walk them through because the instructions are pretty easy. Okay, just one last one. I know you all have limited time, but again, this is great when it comes to vocabulary. We have parts, the root, the suffix, right? This is what I really enjoyed about Exploros because it's heavy on vocabulary and writing and typing. So yeah, so this is one lesson, and again at the end, it'll have an exit ticket. It'll prompt them more questions, and this is broken up by units. So for U.S. history, these are all the units in U.S. history, right? And then reading groups just means either do the students get a small summary or do they get the full article? There's a lot of group work activities in here, and then they come with a STAR practice test. And again, there you have your TEKs that are covered. Again, I recommend this. This saves so much time as a teacher. This gives you so much valuable information as administration, and yes, I'm more than happy to be available to help everybody out with understanding this and walking people through this. Thank you for your time.